hear it, it's like, wow, that's like powerful. So,
I need to raise it up to her.
thank you.
Yeah.
You know, just so thankful for our young people. And as I used to be with them, you can laugh at that, doesn't it? It's like, you know, for the most part, most of us in this room used to be one. Okay. Let's stand, please, for the Word of God. We're going to continue in our series. We have communion this morning. This is going to be so precious. So we won't speak long, so please give me your undivided attention as we're looking to see that which is what? Invisible. Wow. To the natural eye, that's correct. But visible by faith. Hebrews chapter 11.
It's hard to tell until he walks
Two
around. the front.
verses there. Verse 1. Now faith is the hypostasis, the substance. Think of that. The very substance, faith, though not seen as is substantial. God sees it. And that's who it's important to, because as we're going to see in verse 6, it plays a significant place in our relationship with Him. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the
It's not good on the
evidence
bar here.
of things not seen. Then verse 6, but
I don't know how to do
without
that.
faith, it is not possible
What's that?
to please
I don't know how to do that.
God.
Oh, okay, that's right.
For he that comes to God must believe that He is,
It's probably good.
and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him, as it says in the James. Father, bless to our hearts your word, Lord, your living word. God, we are made to receive this message, this truth, this illumination. Shed the light of the Word of God broadly in our hearts, as well as the love of God broadly in our hearts today. May we know and have security of how much you love us, and to be established and kept by the love of God. Now give us hearing ears, God, that we might receive by faith what you wish to teach us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. You may be seated. Okay, we're going to be in this series for some time. Because the Bible tells us, as we read in verse 6 of Hebrews chapter 11, that without faith, I still can be saved. I don't mean, yes, we get saved by faith in Jesus Christ, but once that has been accomplished, that's a finished work. But then I'm here, you're here, and we're living in time. We're living in our life here. And how does that life line up with the will of God? How do I know that what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and we touched on this in the wrap, how do I know from day to day, or even thought to thought, that what is going on in me is some way related to Him and to what God's intention, God's purpose? When Jesus Christ was 12 years old, Mary and Joseph found Him in the temple amongst the religious leaders, and He was asking and answering questions, and they were amazed, astonished actually, is the word is used, at the way in which He responded. And then as Mary and Joseph came upon Him and said, we were looking for you. You know the story. And He simply said, He didn't apologize. kind of an interesting thing. He didn't say, "Oh, Mommy, I'm so sorry, I didn't leave you a sticky note," or, you know, "I didn't email you," or "I didn't pick up the phone to call you." He said what? He said, "No, did not you know? Were you not aware that I need to be about my Father's business?" Or actually, the word there means be about in my Father's house and all that pertains to Him. And we heard this weekend, or actually this week, very beautifully, Pastor Ben from Israel shared. And we mentioned you can view all of the messages that he spoke, except for Wednesday's messages, online, and either at our Facebook page or our YouTube page. And you have that information on that little piece of paper that you get. Did you get a little piece of paper? Okay. Did everybody get a little piece of paper? You know? Okay. Yes.
Turn it down.
Right there. Well, he talked about perspective and seeing how my life far off, not just up close in the details, because we can become consumed in the details, but to see that which is far off, seeing that which is what? Invisible right here. I see what I see in my details right now. That very visible situation, that very visible sickness or illness, that very visible source of stress, whether it's work or relationships or circumstances. I see that. But I also need to see afar off. I need to see that which my hope rests in. So now, without faith, which sees God, it's impossible to please Him. Why? Because there's two things that this verse 6 says. I must know that God is. I think I could go around the room, and I mean, actually I could go streets of heaven race and say, do you believe that God is? Yes, I believe that there is a God. And, you know, people talk like that. But how many believe the second part of that? That He is what? A rewarder to them that diligently. Now, wait a minute. I'm so glad that you brought this up. That sounds like it's up to me to, get a hold of God or to follow God diligently. They that diligently seek it. Well, two things we want to see. And this is beautiful in an alternate translation. And without trusting, without what? Trust is a state of rest, ladies and gentlemen. Trust is after you have reclined on your bed and you fall asleep, you don't wake up to make sure that the bed is still holding you up, do you? I remember one time I was given an air mattress. And, I said, hey, this is your bed. I said, okay, great. And little did I know that it had a very slow leak. And though I started off the night elevated above the floor, I woke up with a kink in my back because I had deflated and I was sleeping on the floor. Well, I went to bed by faith. Trusting. Now, this is what we're saying. When the Bible says trusting in the Lord, it's not what you are doing, it's what you have found that you can rest in. Are you listening? So when it says, without resting, we could say it like that, without realizing that God would have you and me rest in Him and find our rest in Him, then it's impossible to please Him. Why? Because I'm going about trying to do something that He's already accomplished. I'm occupied. Where does anxiety and worries come from? It comes from the activity of the flesh. It comes from a place of not having any rest and hoping to find something, to do something to change the circumstances so I don't have to worry about them, or you know. But in actuality, there is a rest in Hebrews chapter 4 for the people of God. We have a rest. And it's found in one place, in the person of Jesus Christ. Now, think of this. What does it mean to please God? What is pleasing to the Lord? It's not going to be your good works. It's not going to be my activity for Him. You know, it's like we can say, well, what are you doing for the Lord? Well, I'm doing this. What are you doing? I'm not doing anything. Well, then you must not be pleasing to God. No, that's not what this is talking about. The word here for please speaks of a gratifying experience that is quietly pleasing and satisfying. Think of this. God has a gratifying feeling and pleasing satisfaction in what? In what? That you and I are trusting in Him. Not doing, resting. But from that will come in the daily details. It means this: I do the dishes in rest. I go to my job in rest. But you can say, well, Pastor, you don't know the kind of people I have to work with. People, you know, listen, we can change names and faces and locations and it's still be the same if I don't have any rest. But I can have rest. Trusting the Lord. And so, think of this, because it's so good. In 3 John chapter 1 and verse 4, here's the Apostle John. He's an old man, but he's taught, invested, prayed, ministered, okay? He's done what an apostle should do. But you know what he said at the close of his life? You know, John, what could you say that it was the thing that was most satisfying in your Christianity? What would be the thing that really you could say, this has made it worth it all? He wouldn't say, oh, that I know that I'm going to heaven. He wouldn't say, oh, that I had all these possessions and experienced all these great things. You know what he said? He said that the one true joy that he had was that his spiritual children were walking in the truth. That those who heard and received are now walking. I want you to think of that. They heard and they received, and now what are they doing? They're walking. But it doesn't mean that they're perfect. It doesn't mean that they're sinless. But it means that they're walking in what they have received from God. They're trusting in His Word. And that's why we hear the Word of God. Why? Because Romans 10 and 17 says faith comes. I love this, because for a long time I was in a particular movement, and their whole thing was have faith in your faith. In other words, like, how hard can you believe? Can you believe hard enough? No. And then God will do it. That was introspective faith. That was looking at me, not at Christ. And the fact being that the faith of the Word of God is what the promises of God will establish in my life. So I need to hear. And in hearing the Word, faith arrives. Faith gets established. And my mind, in Romans 12:2, gets renewed. Renewed. I think I gave the illustration of what that word renew actually means. And it's like this. A man goes to the store department store, he buys his shirt, okay? And now he's gonna unwrap his shirt. So what has he got? He's got, got the cellophane on the shirt, he takes that off, and he's got pins, we know, but he's got pins, holding the shirt on the cardboard. And underneath the collar, what do you got? A little piece of cardboard underneath there, then up on the front, you got a little piece of plastic. I'm describing this because I'm unwrapping the shirt, And there it is. So you got all these things that held it in the package to make it look very pretty so that you pick it. But now you got to wear it. Well, you put it on and you wear it, and then you wash it. Then you wear it again, and you wash it. Then you wear it again, and you wash it. Okay, so it was new how many times? Once. But what if it could be? And this is what this word renewed.
You're supposed to wash it before
It
you
means
wear it.
you unpackage the shirt, you take all the pins out, you take the carpet out, and you put the shirt on and you wear it, and then you lay it aside.
wife won't let me do
Because there's
that.
another brand new
My
shirt.
wife won't let
for
me do that.
tomorrow.
She has to wash it before I wear it.
Yeah, you're
Waiting
supposed
to
to.
be what? Unwrapped.
Because there's all sorts of oils and sediments that are in the clothes.
You don't have to worry about washing the
You'd be
other
surprised
one.
how many people get sick from it.
You got a brand new.
Okay, you're at my wife's side. I get it.
That's when the Bible says,
Not
your
outside.
mercies are new, Lord, when? Every morning. Have you gone to the pantry and seen that mercy stacked high,
Boy.
waiting
Wow.
for you to what? Unwrap it,
Wow.
unpackage it.
Mhm.
It's yours. We don't earn it, we don't deserve it, but it's provided. This is the provision that God has given us. So here's how we want to see
Mr. Zippity Judah.
this. Wow. It is amazing to think this. As we said in 3 John 1, verse 4, the words of no greater joy I cannot have than to hear that my children are attached to the truth. That's the New Living Translation. I thought this was very good. Attached to the truth. When something is attached, it doesn't move. It's not temporary. It is this attachment that we have through the second birth. My relationship to God is not based on how well I'm doing today. It is based upon a historical event that happened when I received, when you received Christ. We were born again by the Spirit. And we are attached to God. Every day. Every day. Now, how does this work out in practical experience? Well, turn, if you would, to 1 Samuel. And this is amazing. First Samuel. Here we find David. And David and his 600 men left their families, their tents, their provision at Ziklag. Ziklag. Okay? And the Amalekites came while the men were away. Okay? And took everything. They didn't kill anyone. They took the women and the children and all their possessions. So then when David and his men returned to Ziklag, they found it burned and everything was gone. Everything was lost. Wow. And so in 1 Samuel verse 5, well, actually, let's take a look at verse 6. 1 Samuel 30, verse 6. And David was greatly distressed. Well, I guess so. I would be too. For the people spoke of stoning him. Now imagine this. This is his own army. This is his own military. And because of that disaster, they were looking at David and said, David, you're to blame. If we did not follow you, we would not have lost what we lost. So they turned against David. Now think of that. So he's lost his family, he's lost his possessions, and now his men are wanting to stone him. Well, what do you think David should have done right then?
Crawl into a hole.
What do you think would be the appropriate response?
Run.
Well, it says it in the B part of this verse. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his son and for his daughter. But David encouraged himself in the Lord. What? He encouraged himself in the Lord. Now, listen, think of this. Hebrews 11:6. I come to God because I know that God is what? He is. He didn't go away. But I also realize that he is a rewarder of them that put their trust, those who are attached to him.
Boy.
They are just attached to
Thank
him.
you, Lord.
Now, Romans chapter 8 brings up a list of things, who can separate me from the love of God? Okay? Who? Interesting persona. Not just what, but who could separate us from the love of God? And then it begins to list all of the things that we would say would separate me mentally or emotionally, but it doesn't because I'm attached. I'm attached. So David in this stressful
Why is message showing up on
previous
this?
situation, what is he?
The message
Well, it
just
says
popped up here.
in the page A,
Somebody, Betty.
that he strengthened, encouraged himself rather, in the Lord his God. Well, what did he do? He, in everyday faith, we see in operation here. Only this is a bad day for David. This is a bad day. But what does he do? He encouraged himself in the Lord. I want to read a little passage here from Handfuls on Purpose. It's kind of like a doctrinal devotional. Listen to what it says here. It is not so easy for us to praise God when our circumstances are to us as a covering of sackcloth and ashes, as when they are as the royal robe of unbroken favor and success. Yet the discipline of the one may be as fruitful of a blessing as the other, if we are found abiding in the will of God. But the willful prodigal will certainly suffer loss. David's alliance with the Philistines brought him into sore trouble, as such unholy connections are sure to do. But David would recover all because he inquired of the Lord. What did David do? He didn't worry, fret, bite his knuckles, and blame others or come up with an excuse. Look at what it says here in verse 7. And David said to Abiathar, the priest, Elimelech's son, I pray you, I ask you, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought hither the ephod to David. What was the ephod? It was the breastplate of provision. It was the means, what we would say today, prayer. Prayer. It was a way in which David could communicate with the Lord. And in so doing, even under severe pressure, he sought to do what? To inquire of God. God, you're here. You see this situation. You know exactly what's happening. I need to ask you what I'm to do. I need to ask you what you want me to do. And so he asks the Lord, do I pursue? Do I go after the Amalekites and to do the next thing? What am I to do next? And you know what? In life, we come to the point where we don't know what to do. I had that happen today. Okay? I don't know what to do. But I don't get into angst and worry when I can inquire. When I can ask the Lord. And listen, you say, well, I don't know if God will have my back. But this is exactly why we're learning how to trust. Trust in the Lord with what? All my heart. But don't lean to your what? Because that's something we can do. But in all of your ways, what? Acknowledge He's present. He's a present help in the time of need. Then He promises what? He will direct my path. That's exactly what happened here with David.
Remember Irene mentioned that verse.
David, what are you to do? Well, the people are waiting outside. They're about ready to stone you. You've got to say something to them. What was he going to say to them? Verse 8, 1 Samuel 30. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And God answered and said, pursue, for you shall surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. So David goes out and he says, we're going to pursue, and we're going to recover all. And people look at David and say, like, we just got ready to stone you. What are you talking about? That's such a, he said, why would you say that, David? God said that. What are promises? Promises are what God says. Who's he talking to? He's talking to us. He's talking to us. He said, I will never, never leave you or forsake you. I promise that. Listen, I got some great verses, for this. Psalm 62, verse 8. Trust in Him at all times, you people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us. And it says this word, Selah, which means pause, consider, meditate, park right there. How about this? Psalm 56:3. What time I am afraid, I will trust in Him. See, that's faith. That's what pleases God. God's not going to withhold any good thing to them that put their trust in Him. And part of my maturing is a transference of self-trust to God-trust. Self-trust, the way I used to do it, the way I thought I could do it, living by my wits, winging it, whatever I could do. I hope to make it better. To where trust, but I have rest. I have rest. So David comes out of the prayer closet facing these angry men who are very resentful at what has happened. And David speaks these words. And it's these words. But you know what? They realized that it wasn't David's words. It was the Lord's words. It wasn't what David just desired. It's what God was going to do. And I want to live according to what God wants to do. I want to live not just my own desires and what might be compatible for me in the details of my life, but I want to live in the big picture. I want to live in what God is about. And He can lead us there as a local assembly. He can get us there. And we can look at the fact that He will be faithful and trustworthy. And all He's asking for us to do is stay attached. Just stay attached. No greater joy but that my children are attached to truth. Let me close with this.
Oh, he's a mover.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And it is a lot of stuff to be afraid of. Turn on the news. This corona virus. People got masks. I had to turn that off. There's a whole lot of projection, fear. Well, what are you going to do? So somebody sneezes next to you and says, oh,
Sorry. Pardon me.
how am I going to go out and get groceries? Somebody might
Nice
have-
knowing you.
Read Psalm 91.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Pestilence will not come nigh unto who? Pestilence will not come nigh unto who? Well, you can say me, but I'll say you. You say me and I'll say you.
You.
Yeah. You say, do you dare believe in that? I do dare believe in that. Yes, I'm
Thank you,
attached to
Jesus.
that.
Thank you, Jesus.
Okay? I want to be attached to that. Outside of that, I'll be caught up in the sphere of fear and anxiety and wondering and worrying and leaning to my own understanding. But what time I'm afraid, I trust in you, Lord. How about this? Wow, Psalm 112, verse 7. He shall not be afraid of evil tidings. The person one time saying to me, my job is downsizing, my company's downsizing, I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to lose my job, then I can't pay my mortgage, and I can't pay my mortgage, I'm going to lose my house, and I lose my house, I won't know what to do. Man, like how did you get all the way over here? Evil tidings. The company's going to downsize, but guess what? The company did downsize, and they kept their job. So all of this over here, anxiety, worry, projecting in the future, something that could happen, never even came close to happening. Evil tidings will be spoken. Things will be said that will be projected. But his heart is fixed, trusting in the Lord. Let me close with this. I love this. Isaiah 26, verse 3.
No battery.
And what? The phone.
His mind is stayed on him.
Keep it close. We got 20%.
I read the word and then I meditate. I read the word and then I make space. I read the word and Psalm 119, verse 11, I hide it in my heart. Why? It's the most precious thing for God to speak to us, for God to make promises to us, for God to reveal his purpose for us, to give us the bigger picture. It is that kind of living that gives us practical victory in our personal experience, but it also gives us a practical purpose in the details of our experience. That's Romans 8:28, the all things working together for divine good to them who love God, well, not love God, but respond to God's love, or love God's love. That's something that we heard this week from Pastor Ben. We fall in love with the way that God loves us, full of mercy, full of grace, full of forgiveness, full of restoring. I can live in the security, not of my circumstances, but in his love. Can I say that again? Thank you very much. I don't live in the security of my circumstances, because that could change. But I live in the security of his love for me that will never change. Never change. Never. So, when we take communion, I want you to think of this. Pastor Ben shared this. The leader of Israel came over here to America and talked to our president, and they come up with a peace plan, a plan for peace. And that's okay, and this is what he was saying. You know, good intentions, you know, and so forth. But you know what the ironclad, indestructible reality is that God covenanted with his people for that land. And no amount of plans of men and nations and anything will undo the covenant. It's not going to happen. Well, guess what? God covenanted with you and with me through his blood. And no amount of stupidity, idiocy, or mistakes, or failures, or shortcomings can undo the covenant. And I trust in him. No, I don't put my trust in myself. No, I trust in him. By the way, that covenant was between God and himself. He didn't get you and me mixed up in there because we would have flubbed it. But he covenanted with himself for the benefit of us. That's what John 3:16 really teaches. God so loved the world that he what? Gave his son. That's the covenant. That's the assurance that he would be faithful to everything that he said that he would do. And I'm just bankrupt enough to trust him. And I do. And you do too. It's beautiful. Okay. So, we partake of communion. This is what is in our hearts. This is what we're thinking of. This is what we are remembering. And he says, do it often in remembrance. And don't get distracted by your circumstances or your feelings, your emotions, or your situation. Stay attached to truth. Stay attached to me. Stay because I've got you. I've got you. Paul said it like this. He says, I have been apprehended, captured, and now I'm learning of the one who's captured. Father, bless this to our hands. God, that everyday faith is so practical because it's rooted in your promises. You are faithful. And if you're here today on the broadcast today, you never trusted in Jesus Christ, well, it's not a religious act that's going to get you secure. It's trusting in the finished work of the one who acted on your behalf, and my behalf, Jesus Christ. And in trusting in him, you will be regenerated and born again by the Spirit of God. And if you've done that, feel free to contact us. Prayer Connection, and thank you very much. That phone number right up there, you can text us. Please feel free to do so. And we appreciate that. Now you're here today as the body of Christ. We're going to partake of communion. Bless this, Lord. We are amazed that corporately together we celebrated this table that's been prepared for us in the presence of our enemies. This table that is rich with grace and mercy. We are here seated and provided for. Bless our time right now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Done.
Okay, we'll just start with that set up. Oh, say goodbye? Okay, yes, thank you for tuning in. Goodbye. Thank you.